Hey, how you doing today? Hope it's been a good day for you. This is Dud's Fried, and I've had a few questions about my witch, and I noticed that my witch videos, Elementalist, have been getting a lot more views and a lot more interest than any of the other characters I do. I currently play 4 characters in Path of Exile. All of them are in Part 2. 3 of them are in Part 7, and 1, which is the one we're going to talk about right now, is my witch. She just got to Act 8. But we're going to talk about my witch because apparently people aren't playing witches a lot, and they're not quite used to seeing somebody play one and get anywhere. Anyway, let's go ahead and load her up. Her name's Cirrus Electra, and I just changed her name. I had another name that I had for her, and I really didn't like it, and all I had to do was send an email to support, and they were nice enough to let me change her name. Now, this is my witch, and and what she's carrying here, what she's equipped with is, she's got a boot knife, but it's a legendary, and it's got some nice global crits on it. That's one of the aspects of her that I tend to focus on. And she is an elementalist, which means, fire, ice, lightning, and what's the other element? Chaos? Yeah, whatever, if that's an element. Anyway, she's an elementalist, and the element I've chosen is lightning. Now, this isn't my first witch. I had another witch, and she didn't do as well, mostly because it was my first character, and I was still trying to figure out the game. That was like 3 years ago. But this one, she actually started off as a hardcore character, but she impressed me so much that even when she died in hardcore and got stuffed down to Standard League, I was so impressed with her progression, and I decided to go on with her. And to that end, I've been, kind of chronicling her progress. I have a playlist called the Witch Build Project that goes all the way back to when I started with her, and comes up to the present day. Currently, she is level 60. She just got to level 60. Being an elementist, she's picked the element of lightning or electricity. And let me show you real quick her passive tree here. And as you can see in her passive tree, elemental damage and resistances, and Paragon of Calamity. That's the 2 I picked. So the thing about that is there's been some... this being an elementalist, not only is the damage important, but the resistances are important. Of course, we all know that we all lost 30% across the board of all of our resistances when we did the Katava battle. That's the loss you just can't get over. And it kind of crippled her for the first half of Act 6, which is the act after Act 5, after the Katava battle, when you go back to Rayclast, where you are now. But there was one battle, the second Brutus battle, when you go back to the prison. This is about halfway along into Act 6. I got a friend who's got a couple of characters that they just died repeatedly. She didn't die once, but that was because all the attacks were electrical, lightning, that kind of thing, and her resistances to lightning are almost off the charts. In fact, let me bring up the character screen. You can see in her defense, if you look down here at her lightning resistance, 75% standard, 122% with her equipment. So, yeah, the best thing that can happen to her is to go up against somebody who does lightning, because it pretty much bounces off her. But we'll get back to the character stat screen a bit later. Let's look at the passive tree there. That's from of course, these are the points you get from completing the Ascendancy trials. Now, she's only done the normal, which she didn't have much trouble with, but the next one, the cruel one, I'm going to wait till she's about level 70 before I go through that, because it's so long and tedious that I don't want to have her dying too many times. Now, asking about what is her focus? Well, you can kind of tell that from the tree, and you can kind of tell that from her equipment. And I'm going to go ahead and bring up her inventory. You can see that global crit is important to me, but I'm also looking for things like well, armor's nice, but I never pick a piece of equipment because of its armor rating. If it comes along for the ride, that's great, because she could just be that much more tanky. And what I mean by tanky is this game is ideal for a melee character, but for rangers and witches, it's a little harder. You get a lot of groups, especially in part 2, that tend to crowd you and jump at you or teleport on top of you. You need to be able to survive somebody right in your face. So I focus on things like evasion and just getting her strength up and her stats up in that respect. Just so she could at least take a hit or two and not die. Even in boss battles. So that's kind of the philosophy there. But again, you're going to see there's a chance. That's a shield, it's a chance to block. But you see, this one's primarily armor. But you see what I have here of the prefixes and the suffixes: elemental resistance, life bonuses, things like movement modifiers. If she can, or attack speed, things like that. Cast speed, anything you can do. You see, like here, 20% increased movement speed, low on life. This one modifies her flasks. This piece of equipment, again, movement speed. All her stuff is to the end of trying to keep her from either getting out of the way, running away, and then, but if she can't run away, at least being able to take one hit and then run away. And if you look at her tree, it kind of reflects that as well. It's the same philosophy. Now she's lightning, so elemental damage gets it, lightning gets it. Anything to deal with lightning or electrical, I'll give to her. Of course, anything I can get with mana regen, but right now I'm concentrating on keeping her standing, and of course being able to do damage when she throws a spell. You see, I've got this tree here, Heart of Thunder. That's lightning damage, and I'm going towards Breath of Lightning. That's the next 2 skill points. That's where they're going to go. Then after that, it's kind of a toss-up. She uses a dagger, not a wand, so this wouldn't do much for her. But I don't know. I might go there. She does have 1 gem. It's not a great gem. It's primarily movement, speed, and mana. If I get a better jewel in this socket, or like an upgrade to this jewel, I'd definitely swap it in there. Or something with a nice radius that helps out. You see there's some mana boost here. Mind over matter. Damage from mana before life. That's good because she produces enough mana where she rarely runs out. Unless she's in a really, really thick battle. But then that's what this flask is for. Excuse me. Spell damage. You see there. Spell casting. Again, elemental resistances. Again, she's a little bit tanky. So I'm kind of going down into here where, let's see, we got, I'm not sure what this would be. Who's over here? Melee damage. Yeah, I'm thinking this is more around the Marauders tree around here. She's picking up some stuff. But I've kind of gone, most people go kind of the other direction or over here somewhere or down here. I believe over here. Let me see. Trap in mine. Yeah, that looks like a Marauder. I don't know what that is. There we go. Some people like to go down here and pick up the Ranger stuff. But, again, she's a little tanky, and I'm after dispel stuff, and most of what she needs is going to be up here. I may start working on her mana regen a little more, too, because as she's going on, she's been needing more mana. But, again, primarily spell damage, evasion, movement. That's really what she's after. And the rest of the stuff is all kind of secondary. So, anyway, that's her passive tree. Let's close this off. And you can see she does move pretty quick. In fact, my buddy who's got a ranger moves damn quick said he was impressed at how fast she moves. So, that is pretty quick for a witch. But let's go ahead and I'll show you some of the spells I use. Now, primarily, the spells I'll use Storm Call. That's my primary. Does about 1,800 points. Now that's per shot. I can drop about 5 or 6 of those at one time. And cast speed is everything with that. It seems to be the most effective, although it's not the one that does the most DPS. Orb of Storms, I'll tend to drop that. If I know I'm going to have to stand and fight and people are coming to me, I'll do that as kind of a protective measure. And it has a nice 84% increased critical strike. That's kind of nice. I don't have to do anything. It does it for me. And then my secondary lightning traps. I throw the traps mostly because it keeps the bad guys away from me. You'll see me when I play this game. I'll always throw traps out. Like if I'm going to open a chest or something, I'll throw traps and then run and back off. I use Arc. Arc is probably my most powerful spell right now, and I enjoy Arc. I like Arc. It has a repeat. It's got spell echo on it, and it's fast. But it's not ideal for all enemies. I actually find that the traps and the Storm Call tends to work better. Another thing at autocast is conductivity. It's a curse, and that's also has a modifier or a support gem of blasphemy, so it autocasts. And the more that levels up, the bigger the area of effect. I've noticed people getting cursed from further and further out. That's a big help because, of course, being a witch and having lightning as your primary attack, if you can make them more susceptible to that attack, why not? On top of it, even if I get someone who's lightning resistant, it doesn't matter. They still get hit with it unless they have an immunity to a curse. And the other one that you'll see me use, this is almost 2,000, is Lightning Strike. Lightning Strike is pretty interesting and pretty powerful, but I've just started leveling that. I'm kind of enjoying it. I used this once early on in an earlier build, but I wasn't impressed with it. But now that I've got her to where she's at now in her level and her passive tree, it's turning out to be a much better spell. The only thing I don't like about it is it's kind of directional. Whereas Arc, if you fire at somebody in front of you, there's somebody behind you, it'll reach back and get them too, which is always a good thing. Lightning Strike tends to fan out in a specific pattern, so you have to be kind of careful with that. Okay. Let's go ahead and take care of some housekeeping here. Apparently I leveled up a bunch of gems. Get that out of the way. Oh, now she's moving even faster. What else do I want to show you here? Really nothing. Let's go ahead and go out in the field. And let's show you some of her skills here. Now she's already got her conductivity active. Primary spell's ready to go. So let's go ahead and cause some trouble. I hear somebody rumbling around. This is Storm Call. It's a nice area of effect. Also, in my equipment, I have the was it Word of War? Let me look here. Triggers Word of War somewhere. Yeah, trigger Word of War on a kill, which brings out a ghost of my primary weapon, which is kind of cool. It's kind of nice. It's kind of like a free minion. And if you, as you go on, if you keep having problems, you get like 2 of them. So there's Storm Call. Let's show you the traps. And those work pretty well. Alright, this is a good chance to use the Lightning Strike. And you can also see my Word of War is busy too. Sometimes that happens though. Got a little sloppy there. Okay, let's find somewhere to use arc. I need more of you. Okay, let's find... There we go. Well, we can use arc. And this has got a spell echo on it. And it has a fast attack speed. Again, most powerful spell, but I don't like to use it all the time because it doesn't work well on every enemy. Now I could have moved, yes, but there's an example of a little bit of face tanking that she can do that most witches can't. So,
you there?
No, not today. Yeah, let's pick up our orb. I'm not going to do his crap. There you go. A little more arc. And the only thing I haven't shown you is Orb of Storms. Let's do that. Let's just drop it on somebody and run away. There you go. A little more arc. Nothing really that great there. Orb of Storms has saved my butt in a couple of boss battles. You can see it just kind of auto-cast. I mean, it's not a primary attack skill or anything, but it's sometimes it's just that little extra you need. Ooh, better pick that up. So there you go. And I'm not afraid to combine skills. And you notice that her mana hardly moves at all. So she's got pretty good mana regen. But if she gets in a super heated battle, it can get a little hairy. Which is why I have a decent mana flask. As far as flasks, 2 high volume and of course always modded health flasks. And then I carry a Quicksilver because sometimes she needs to move faster than she's already going. And a evasion flask, which helps her to survive people who can't, you know, people who are too good at their weapons. And then there's the mana. So that's pretty much her build. And again, her focus is to be, you know, she needs to survive a battle. She doesn't use minions or anything like that. In fact, she doesn't have the... See, there's another combination of spells again. She doesn't... because it's just... she doesn't have any points in there because she would take too much away. And that's the thing with these characters. You have to focus. And what I focused on is one particular type of elemental attack. And basically leverage that through all the spells I use. So the tree reflects that, her equipment reflects that, you know. So I'm trying to be deliberate in her build, you know, and trying to make her as effective as I can. And you see that Word of War comes on. I love the Word of War. I find it amusing. Anyway. So that's pretty much it. Let's go home here. Let's go back into our little protective area here. I guess the only thing really to show you here, I'll show you her character specs a little bit. You know, every witch is going to have ridiculous intelligence. I don't need any points into that. But you see her strength is up, so she's a little tankier than most witches. Dexterity is up too. That helps. You see with the evasion modifier there, she doesn't need the accuracy as much as she needs the evasion. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good for a witch. And you see with her spells, her physical is only going to do like 423 DPS just with her little dagger. Let's see. She's actually got her secondary weapon is actually a bow, so she's got some. Look at, she got 2,000 point lightning strike here, or lightning arrow. Okay, lightning arrow. I'm sorry. 633 DPS with the lightning arrow because her alternate weapon is a bow. Lightning strike's doing 2,000. Storm call almost 2,000. The average damage on a lightning trap 1308. Remember, I can throw 9 of those, and I have modifiers that give her 9. Orb of Storms 1263. Again, that's more to protect her. 3,400 on her arc. And the Word of War is doing like 400 damage on its own. So, and you see you get the life gain. And that you're after anything that gives her life. You know, that's really, well, for her, it's critical. My Marauder doesn't have near the trouble that she did. So, you know, but then again, they're totally different characters. Defensive, see their armor 539. It's not ridiculous. It's good, but it's not ridiculous. You see her damage reduction there. Her resistances, though. You see she's got a 75% base lightning resistance. You see 122% with the equipment and other stuff modifiers. She goes head to head with somebody that's got chaos. Is throwing chaos. She's going to go down fast. She's got negative numbers there. No, fire resistance is average. Cold resistance is also kind of average. You know, if I find something in a piece of equipment that has that, it's a bonus. It's not something I'm looking for. I'm looking for elemental resistances to stack as just as in general. So I'm not looking for any specific resistance. I'm looking overall. I'm looking for those 5-10% all across the board resistances. Resistances are everything with her. Let's see what else we have. Miscellaneous, flask, charges, 0.3 endurance charges. Critical strike chance with power 40%. What's her base critical? I'm not seeing that. That might be in here. Let's see. You know, she needs a little work on penetration, stuff like that. But really, the chance to hit 83%, that's not bad for being a witch. So, I'm not seeing the crit, but anyway, that's the witch. That's my witch. And again, that's the build. And people have been kind of asking and wondering what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. And I've noticed the people who are watching the videos seem kind of interested. So I'm going to continue on with her. I also have a Marauder / Juggernaut, a Ranger / Deadeye, and a Templar, who's like Inquisitor or something like that. They've all gone through the first Ascendancy trials, which I'm also building. They're all back in Act 7, so I'll be working with them pretty soon here too. But she's leading the way, and so far I've been pretty impressed by her. So, anyway, that's it. Thanks for stopping by. Questions, comments, put them down there below the video. Thanks for watching.